Alright, today I'm going to finish off the pillars with number seven. And number seven is consistency. So this one pretty much ties like all the other six together. So like for instance, like the ads it's great if you do stuff for 2 weeks, but it doesn't good if you take 3 months off and everything. So for instance, with getting into 4 points of smart recovery, with the first one being building and maintaining motivation. A lot of times when you cross puts it into the seven pillars and everything, motivation might not necessarily be the best of things. In the sense of consistency of continually going through daily, weekly, and monthly habits and everything, because eventually you're going to lose motivation for for instance going to the gym, the usual New Year's resolutionists that go in they go hell bent for 2 weeks, and they're all motivated to change their lifestyle and everything, so they go from 0 to 100 in those 2 weeks, and they don't necessarily build the daily, the weekly, and the monthly habits to maintain that motivation. So motivation is great in a sense that it can get you started and everything, but where you want to tie it into maintaining the motivation is building the set of discipline, where you sit here and with the going to the gym with the training, okay, I need to do this at this time or I'm not going to get it done. And same thing with meditation and or journaling for pillar six, the same thing with the mobility, stretching, yoga, and the same thing with nutrition. So what you need to do is set up for, at least for me, set up a set schedule, so that way you can for those times that you're not motivated to do something, you have that discipline of those habits already ingrained, so that way you can keep going through the other 3 points. So with the controlling urges, in my opinion, isn't necessarily as important, because where I'm at in that it's been a number of years since I've had any alcohol to drink. So for me, controlling urges isn't necessarily a thing anymore, even though that is usually the way I view it is something early on. So and the same thing with the other two, especially building and maintaining a healthy balanced lifestyle. With the fourth point, that's where the discipline comes in. So you might in a sense with the motivation, you start off with that first step, building and maintaining, but once you get to the maintaining part, down with living a balanced life, that's where something like the discipline comes in, to be able to get that consistency, so that way you can continue on with use daily, weekly, and monthly habits and everything. So if something comes up, for instance, maybe you might get an injury, a while, probably a couple years ago. Now, I had a right delt or whatever, one of the tendons in my it was my right shoulder. It was bothering me, but since I had over 4 or 5 years built in the discipline and everything to keep at things, I was able to work around it, and and it was a minor injury, or it was more of a tweak or whatever. But if you say you do get a major injury, a muscle or tendon tear, or maybe something you pull a hamstring or something, you're able to okay, well, I've got this injury. When you've gone through building motivation, and then you maintain it to the point of discipline with in regards to consistency, you can work around that injury. And so for instance, if you get a tear, there's a video I saw a couple years ago where the guy literally tore his tendon off his pec when he was trying to do an incline bench press, and that's a major injury that you could possibly come across, where like now you like with something like that would put you out of lifting for a couple weeks. But with the consistency, it's like, okay, well, I can't do this. What with getting the habit set, you can tweak it, so maybe you can more like concentrate on maybe cardio. Like you can jump on like a recumbent bike or like a stationary bike or something, where like you're pretty much just like sitting down on like a machine, so you can still go and still like at least maintain like a baseline for when like you do heal up for like a major injury or whatever. So like for me, being in my early 40s, like I'm more of like the approach of like looking for like longevity. So like that's what consistency also is like how are you able to like do all 6 pillars, the previous 6 pillars, not only for like today or tomorrow or next week, next month, but like also for like next year and next decade, and like over the course of like a lifetime. And like you got the phrase that like life isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. What you got to look at is like how like when you look forward and like and like if you're like in like your 20s or 30s, and like you're someone like who's obese or morbidly obese, who's just starting out to get into like the healthy lifestyle, and like especially like with like people like an addiction, like leaving that behind. What you gotta like do is not look at when you're looking at looking forward into the future. You're not like oh my god, I gotta do this for like the next 50 years or whatever. It's just like, okay, well, I got 50 years. Okay, so now I bring it back, my focus back down to like the daily and weekly and monthly habits. So like you can start like building the discipline to keep that like those habits in place, so that the 50 years will pass regardless. So it's just like with the consistency, with like doing all 6 pillars like every single day, or like so sometimes stuff does come up where you might like miss stuff, like you might like miss like a day or two, or like with this with mobility or meditation, or maybe like, you miss a day of training because like your car broke down. With like the consistency, like it's able to like realize that, okay, like when things like that happen, you're able to like pivot and not to have like a debilitating like mentality of like, oh my god, I just like totally like messed up because I just missed this one day. And like it's able to like take that step back and like take that pause and everything. So like video games, I usually like use the video game analogy where they like when you're playing on like an Xbox or a PlayStation, where like the controllers have like the pause button. Well, you can sit there and use the pause button like mentality in life, and like take a pause when something like happens, like the example of car breaking down, and you miss out maybe going to the gym. Like you had like every intention like of going, but like the car broke down and you had to take it in the shop and get it fixed. So consistency is like being able to like tap into the other pillars of like, okay, so I couldn't get to training pillar today because my car broke down, so maybe I can spend extra time doing, like I said, pushing that pause button and spending more time with like, say, maybe meditation or something. Or like I can get home and like okay, so I couldn't spend like the hour and a half or so at the gym because I was at the auto shop getting my car fixed, but I can get home and like still do maybe like a 15 maybe 20-minute mobility flow, where I'm still actually doing something that like okay, well, I couldn't do this, and this was my plan, so I had to pivot, and now I can at least still get this in. So it's just a matter of like being able to like set the discipline after you've built up the motivation and everything, to be able to keep that consistency of being able to do like everything. And so like when it comes to like addiction recovery, consistency is like a key in that. Like you could easily like after like especially early on, like in the first several months, like you could be easy like to throw it all out and like everything out, and just have to start, in a sense, what people say, start all over again. But like usually like the some of the things that I've come across online and like through the years is like the dates you want to kind of like look for, like when like the milestones is kind of when it comes to recovery is like usually like a month, and then like 3 months, 6 year, and then okay, now after like a year you're kind of good to go, like start building up further, because like the first month is kind of like you're just starting out and you're just starting to change your habits and everything, so like and that's like not just with addiction but like with your habits and everything, so like you're like and like the happy hour analogy that I like to use, instead of going out to happy hour, which in a sense if you go to happy hour you never see anyone who's really happy, so like you could say why is it called that, but like instead of going to the happy hour on Fridays, you're making that switch to go over to the gym on Fridays. So after the first month you're now just starting to get into your new routine. After 3 months you pretty much are got it set up, pretty good foundation, everything out, and now like 6 months you're like pretty good. In a year, especially like with addiction, like okay, now I got a year. And of course it's still easy to, even after years or even decades, it's still easy to slide back into old habits. So like the adage that old habits die hard. So like you kind of have to like look at like especially like with pillar 6, I think fits in perfectly with like addiction recovery, because like for me, doing journaling like on a daily basis at night, it gives you that moment to reflect on your day and like you do that mental check-in and everything, so like you can keep going like with like the 4 points. So like I said earlier, like I built I've built the motivation, because like I want to go like keep this lifestyle going. The urges are no longer a thing for me, even though sometimes thoughts do pop up and everything. The way I view it, urges is something usually you deal with early on, and like and then you build onto the fourth point of maintaining the and balanced lifestyle. So like consistency kind of like weaves its way into the other 6 pillars to be able to do that, so you can continue on and not slip back into like those old self-destructive behaviors, especially when it comes to addiction.